Good Wednesday morning, Oswego, and welcome to Top in the Morning. Thanks for starting your day with us. I'm Samantha Damasio. New details have emerged on yesterday's Texas college stabbing, plus a Senate vote to begin debating new gun restrictions is set for tomorrow, and tonight's spring semester etiquette dinner is sold out once again. We'll have a more in-depth look at your top stories in just a moment, but first a quick check of your weather to get you out the door this morning with Chief Meteorologist Patrick Kavlin. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Sam. Not really a nice day.
Not anticipating this forecast. I don't think you have good news for us.
Right, not like last week's forecast. Last week we had some really nice stuff in store. This week, a little different. All right, let's take a look outside right now. Skycam 10, kind of a gloomy shot over the lake today. Lots of clouds moving in, and that is a sign of things to come. Right now, 45 degrees outside, so at least it's not too cold out there. Calm winds, though, that's what we like to see, which means that it actually feels like 45. Here are your top morning headlines for Top in the Morning. Rain, rain, rain. That's what we're going to be seeing over the next few days as a few systems start to sweep their way into our area. Temperatures remain seasonable, though, maybe a little bit below average during the nighttime hours, but nothing too cold. But at the same time, we're not really seeing the warmth that the downstate portions of New York have been enjoying. But a nice weekend that might be in store. I'll have a more detailed look at that in your Storm Team 10 5-day forecast coming up in just 10 minutes. But right now, we'll send it back to Sam.
New details on 20-year-old Dylan Quick, the student who went on a stabbing spree on his Texas college campus yesterday. Police say Quick was born deaf and received an implant at age 7, giving him the ability to hear, but was still learning how to speak English. Quick was homeschooled and involved in Lone Star's library programs when he was a teen. An article on how he overcame challenges early in life appeared on a Lone Star student blog the first week of April. Quick voluntarily told investigators he had fantasies of killing people since elementary school and had been planning the attack for some time. 14 people were injured, with Quick aiming at necks and faces. 2 victims remained hospitalized and in critical condition late Tuesday. The campus shut down for the remainder of the day but is set to reopen today. Quick has been charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And the Senate's top Democrat says there will be a showdown vote tomorrow on his party's effort to enact new gun restrictions. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid says he does not know if Democrats will get the 60 votes needed to break an effort by conservatives to block debate on the legislation. At least 5 Republicans have indicated an openness to support the Democratic effort to at least begin debate. That would give Democrats the votes they would need. A Senate vote to begin debating the legislation would be a temporary victory for President Barack Obama's gun control drive. It remains unclear, though, whether there are enough votes for final approval of the legislation. And 2 local men with previous track records will soon be facing more time in the state prison system. 57-year-old James Minkler and 40-year-old Jason Rancier have been charged with felony burglary. The 2 men were arrested Friday night after a failed burglary attempt when the homeowners came home in the middle of it all. Minkler has been convicted of drug possession and sale as well as sexual abuse. Rancier has already served almost 4 years for a prior burglary charge. Both men were sent to Oswego County Jail. And the water main break in Auburn has been repaired. The Cayuga County Health Department says residents should not experience any further disruptions. Auburn Junior High was impacted by the water main break and still remains under a boil water advisory. The school will be closed today. And Central New York was cheering loud as hometown hero Brianna Stewart led her UConn Huskies to another national title last night. The former Cicero North Syracuse student scored 23 points with 9 rebounds. Stewart was also named the most outstanding player of the tournament. Her 23 points were also the most any UConn freshman in a national title game. And we're going to take a quick break, but first take a look at what happened on this day in history. Stay tuned, you're watching WTOP 10's Top in the Morning.
MBA program, helping you achieve your goals with a customized curriculum developed with flexibility in mind. Take classes year-round, full or part-time in Oswego, online or at the Metro Center in downtown Syracuse. More information is available online or by calling 315-312-2911.
Last night, Lori Capricuzzi scored 2 goals on Alya Brianlove.
And Joe, get out. Adam, you're in. Lori Korpikovsky scored 2 goals on Ilya Brizgalov. Got it!
Good morning. Thanks for waking up with us. Welcome back. All right, Pat. So some stormy weather. Were we going to see thunderstorms, or I know we had one the other night.
Yeah, those were some pretty nice storms that moved over the lake the other night. Actually dropped some small hail to our north. So something that we're not always quite used to, especially this early in the season. But it just goes to show you that spring is a pretty changeable time of year, so you can see some pretty drastic swings.
Especially in Oswego. We could see snow in May.
Right.
I mean, I'm just waiting for anything.
Yeah, heaven knows we've seen it before. Let's take a look at our conditions outside right now. 45 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, so really not the nicest start to the day. Our wind chill, however, well, there is none, and that's because our winds are calm right now. So all in all, not the worst morning in Oswego, but we're just going to have to deal with the cloudy weather for a little bit longer. Taking a look at our regional radar right now, a few interesting things to talk about. We are dry in our area for right now, and that's not going to last. As we head into the next 24 to 48 hours, we're going to be seeing quite a bit in the way of precipitation. Right now, across the southern tier and northern portions of Pennsylvania, you can see some of these heavier areas of showers indicated by the yellows and the darker greens, and maybe even some embedded thunderstorms. That's on the leading edge of this system back off towards the west. Here you can see it. Massive system extending all the way from the southern plains up across to the Great Lakes and slowly creeping its way into our area. This is not going to be moving through quickly, folks. This will be taking its time over the next few days, and it'll be starting sometime after the lunchtime hour today, and as I mentioned, really hanging on to our area right into the end of the week. So as we take a look right now at your day planner, heading out to those 9 a.m. classes, 45 degrees, cloudy start, so the clouds do stick around. Our temperatures really don't change much as we go throughout the day, so whatever jacket you're leaving with this morning, it's going to be good as you're heading out for lunch or your evening classes or whatever. So if you don't have a time to get back to your room or your house during the day, not to worry. Temperatures really staying pretty steady. We do have some showers, though, start to creep in by the lunchtime hour, and then by the evening commute, yeah, it's a soggy finish. So make sure you got that rain gear with you. So for today, as I mentioned, we got this large system really extending all the way from Texas up towards our area. We are on the stationary side of this storm, okay? So we got the stationary front here indicated by this line, and it's separating some pretty strong air masses. Basically, the April air from the summer-like conditions. Areas like D.C. and New York City experiencing temperatures 80 degrees. I think 81 was the high in New York yesterday. Outstanding temperatures, honestly, near record levels. For us, though, we're socked into the clouds, rain, and seasonal conditions. So here's your futurecast. 11 a.m. again, those showers start to push their way into our area. By lunchtime, 2 p.m., they're still hanging around. And then by 5 o'clock, they really start to overtake all of central New York and even become a little heavier. So, and the same thing for 8 o'clock, just becoming a little lighter. So here's your 3-day outlook. Really unsettled through the end of the week, but is it going to carry on into the weekend? Well, I got a full look at that for you in just 10 minutes when we take a look at your full Storm Team 10 5-day forecast. But right now, we're going to step back to Sam.
Thanks, Pat. Two parents are accused of abducting their two young sons and sailing off to Cuba are back on U.S. soil, where they have been placed under arrest. It was Cuba that turned Josh and Sharon Hacken over to the U.S. after they were spotted yesterday at a marina in Havana. Florida authorities sent a plane to Havana to bring them back to Tampa overnight. The couple is suspected of kidnapping their kids, who are 2 and 4 years old, from their maternal grandparents. The grandparents have had legal custody since early April. Upon their return to Florida, the parents were placed in the Hillsborough County Jail. They face a federal charge of unlawful flight to avoid prosecution and state charges of kidnapping and interference with child custody. And the U.S. Air Force has begun grounding a third of its fighter jet fleet. An Air Force spokesman says dozens of units in the U.S., Europe, and the Pacific will ultimately stand down. The grounding will involve jets assigned to fighter, bomber, airborne warning, and other squads. It's a result of force spending cuts that began in March. The Pentagon is expected to absorb about half of the $85 billion in sweeping budget cuts from the inability of Congress to reach a deal on deficit reduction. And now we'll take a look at today's most up-to-date financial news with Patrick Kavlin.
All right, thank you, Sam. The Dow Jones Industrial Average hit another record close on Tuesday after data suggesting price pressure in China is in check overshadowed a weak U.S. wholesale inventory reading. Yesterday, the blue chip average rose 60 points to 14,673. The S&P gained 5.5 points to 1569, and the NASDAQ composite climbed 15.5 points to 3238. Retail level inflation in China fell to a year-to-year rate of 2.1% last month from 3.2% the month before. All of this comes as good news to many traders who have worried that the world's second largest economy may see its growth slow down rapidly, especially if the PBOC pulled back on its monetary policy levers. And gold fell for a second straight day on Wednesday, bringing it to its lowest levels in nearly 4 weeks. Analysts cite that investors who are now shifting their money into risky assets on renewed optimism over the U.S. economy is the primary driving force behind the decrease. The bullion has slipped more than 3% since hitting its one-month high last month as fears about the debt crisis in Europe subsided, Wall Street rallied, and recent strong U.S. economic data curbed safe haven demand. And finally, some good news in the housing market this week as home demand continues to skyrocket on the heels of a housing recovery. New home orders are soaring as supplies of existing homes continues to plummet. Stocks of the big home builders, which surged even before real recovery began, continue to rise, up nearly 54% from this time last year. With room to grow and a more than a decade lull, more builders are now going public. But not all are bullish on the builders, especially those who concentrate in the formerly hard-hit areas of housing markets like Arizona and California. Inventories are low in these states and prices are surprisingly large because of huge investor demand for foreclosed properties. One thing is for sure, if investors hold and rent homes, recovery will continue apace. However, if sentiment shifts, the investors could see bigger returns in stakes and rents, and the game could turn quickly. And with 45 minutes until the opening bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 37 points, the NASDAQ is up 10, and the S&P is up 3. That's all for your financial news. Now for a more in-depth look at international news with Sam.
Thanks, Pat. A U.S. official says the Obama administration calculates that it is likely North Korea may test fire mobile ballistic missiles at any time. That's based on the most recent intelligence, which shows North Korea has probably completed launch preparations. Chris Lawrence reports on how the U.S. will react to such a launch.
The U.S. has been poring over the latest satellite images of North Korea, and the intelligence assessment is they've likely completed all preparations to launch. An administration official says the missiles have probably received their liquid fuel. Even though the U.S. has no way to confirm that information on the ground, the military is sending a clear message to Kim Jong-un. It's not when you launch the Musadan missiles, but where. If a test missile flies out over the water, the U.S. Pacific commander does not want it shot down.
I would not recommend that. If we have any predetermined INW, we should have a sense of where it's going to be aimed.
But if it's aimed over land near Japanese territory, interceptor missiles could be used to destroy it.
And if it was defense of our allies, I would recommend that action.
Admiral Samuel Locklear said this launch could be different from previous tests when the U.S. had significant indications on what was about to happen before liftoff.
To understand the direction of the launch, where it was at.
U.S. radars will calculate the trajectory of North Korea's new road mobile missile, but Locklear admits the U.S. won't know as much as soon.
In this case, in the scenario we're in, we're probably looking at being able to see it being in a general location, and then to sense a launch.
Will North Korea launch or stand down? Locklear says it's hard to read Kim Jong-un.
His father and his grandfather, as far as I can see, always figured into their provocation cycle an off-ramp of how to get out of it. And it's not clear to me that he has thought through how to get out of it.
And U.S. officials believe that this launch could happen without a standard mariner's notice. That's a warning to ships and planes to avoid a specific area during a specific time, because that's where the missile could land. It's also a warning to the world, a heads up, so to speak, that a launch is imminent. North Korea has issued those mariners' warnings in the past, but this time, U.S. officials say they're operating under the assumption the North may not issue a warning. Chris Lawrence, CNN, The Pentagon.
All right, coming up after the break, we'll have Brian Tasty with your latest entertainment news and another look at your forecast. Stay with us. You're watching WTOP 10, Top of the Morning.
The Oswego MBA program, helping you achieve your goals with a customized curriculum developed with flexibity in mind. Take classes year-round, full or part-time in Oswego, online or at the Metro Center in downtown Syracuse. More information is available online or by calling 315-312-2911.
Welcome back. All right, Pat. So tonight we'll be indoors for the etiquette dinner. With this, I cover this every year,
right.
And so thankfully we're not going to be outside for this kind of event.
Yeah, definitely not the best weather. The clouds and the rain, man, that's the story. At least it's not cold though, and at least it's not snow.
Yeah,
right?
the temperatures, what, are they going to remain in the 40s, 50s? I can deal with that if it's...
Well, let's find out.
All right.
All right, outside right now, 45 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. No wind out there, so it's looking good, all right? So no wind chill to worry about. And basically the temperatures not really going to change a whole lot during the day, so whatever jacket you take with you this morning should suit you for the rest of the day. Again, we got this stationary front, this boundary here just setting itself up right across Pennsylvania and into the mid-Atlantic and coastal New England areas. And that's separating the summer-like temperatures in the mid-80s across D.C. and lower 80s in New York City from 40s. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s here in central New York. Unfortunately, it's going to stay like that right through the end of the week here. The jet stream, again, basically just the dividing line between the cooler air and the warmer air. And since we're on the northern side of that line, you know, the jet stream, we're going to be on the cooler side. And it's really not going to help us with the rain situation either. low pressure system after low pressure system will be riding along the jet stream and giving us some pretty soggy conditions right through the end of the week. So a detailed look at your forecast for today, mostly cloudy skies. Rain starts to develop around the lunchtime hour and gets heavier throughout the day. Maybe a peak of sunshine before that happens, but pretty unlikely. 46 is where we'll top out for tonight. 34 degrees. That rain gets a little heavy at times. Could mix in with some snow and sleet in higher elevations, but here in Oswego itself, it's looking like all rain. The Masters tournament tomorrow, 81 degrees, so if you're watching that on TV, should be a pretty good game. Your Storm Team 10 5-day forecast not looking too great. We got rain right through the end of the week, but look at this. Sunday, that'll be the saving grace, if you will, for this weekend. 46 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. That's your pick day of the week. Right now, we're going to toss it back to Sam for a look at some more news and some entertainment later on with Brian Tosti.
All right, thanks, Pat. The market is competitive, and students need to be too. Tonight is a spring edition etiquette dinner hosted by Career Services and Auxiliary Services. Guest speaker and owner of the Etiquette Factory, Barbara Lang, will host the dinner tonight in the Hewitt Union Ballroom. Lang uses her signature approach to teaching proper etiquette through humor and storytelling. The etiquette dinner will include an outstanding meal and delicious dessert, as Lang offers specific strategies and tips to help students develop a professional presence. Recruiters will also be in attendance who are hiring for internships and postgraduate full-time positions. Tonight's dinner is sold out, and all attendees are expected to dress in business casual attire. The event will begin at 5 and conclude around 8:30 this evening. And now we'll have your entertainment news with Brian Tosti. Brian?
All right, thanks, Sam. After only one season on MTV, Buck Wild is coming to an end. A source close to the show has confirmed with E! News that due to the unexpected death of Shane Gandy on April 1st, the show will not be airing for the second season. The show was in progress of filming their second season, but immediately halted the production following the carbon monoxide-related tragedy. Buck Wild was one of the top-rated programs on MTV this past year, generating over 3 million viewers in the first season alone. And Robert Downey Jr. channeled his inner Tony Stark and made some noise in Moscow Tuesday. The famed Iron Man star appeared at a convention for Iron Man 3 and surprised fans as he walked out on stage. Amidst all the applause and Iron masks that were staring back at him, it seemed that Downey Jr. enjoyed the applause more than the fans enjoyed his appearance. The blockbuster Iron Man 3 is set to hit theaters on May 3rd in the first Marvel film since the highly anticipated Avengers. And Lindsay Lohan was back on TV Tuesday night, and you better believe that she was on the hot seat. David Letterman was relentless about questions regarding her rehab and drug use. However, for Letterman, Lohan was prepared and on her lawyer-like game. Very few questions that she was asked were on the question sheet that was given to her, and she made the point for everyone to know by reading the predetermined question sheet live on air. Lohan went on to say that she's, quote, healthiest when she's working and happiest. A man was married recently, and as happy and emotional as that is, in brotherly fashion, he was one-upped in a surprise heartfelt video all the way from Afghanistan. Take a look. Blue skies in the morning's air,
I can't begin to tell you how excited I am for the both of you.
Like you like me. There's something wrong with this picture. Let's turn it upside
down. And this is a day that you will remember for the rest of your lives.
The insecurities caused by the last 4 years of economic downsizing in the eastern.
And I wish I could be there to share it with you.
Words, I try to poetry, but it's just no good.
The two of you have a very exciting future ahead, and I wish you both the very best. Just remember, marriage is a journey. There will be ups and downs, so make the best of it. And go nuts together.
Saturdays in the rocket summer, night skies and that lovely stare. I like you. You like me.
Well, Brian, I was going to talk to you about a few of your first stories, but after seeing that last one, I'm almost speechless.
Yeah.
That is the most adorable thing I've ever seen.
And everybody at the wedding at the time, a lot of people talked about it afterwards, brought everybody to tears at the wedding.
I can imagine. How sweet is that? And they weren't expecting that at all?
No, it was a complete surprise. The bride and groom had no idea. It was a little bit of a treat for him, but a treat for them from him, and it was just, as you said, it was
Absolutely.
It's adorable.
Was it a family member or was it just his?
It's his
best
brother.
friend?
It's his
Oh,
brother,
okay.
and he, he was away in Afghanistan deployed and was supposed to be in the wedding, but just was unable to be there, and it was just a great treat for the family.
That is so sweet. And did they do that over Skype or how was that done?
I honestly am not sure. I was scrolling through YouTube, and I it was just touched me in a
It is.
in a
Whenever you
special
see
way.
those videos come back from our troops overseas.
Absolutely.
So thanks, Brian. That was nice. All right. Well, we need to take one last break, but when we come back, we'll have a final look at your forecast. But first, take a look at what celebrities are celebrating a birthday today. Stay with us. You're watching WTOP Top in the Morning.
We are the Tigers from Pet 885. And you are watching WTOP. Yeah.
The Oswego MBA program, helping you achieve your goals with a customized curriculum developed with flexibility in mind. Take classes year-round, full or part-time in Oswego, online or at the Metro Center in downtown Syracuse. More information is available online or by calling 315-312-2911.
Welcome back. Students at TNT Primary School in Tennessee answer cries of help from a puppy who wiggled her way onto their playground. The students are now asking for your help to raise money for a life-saving surgery. After finding the injured pup, faculty rushed the dog to a local animal shelter. The shelter said it looked like the dog had been hit by a car and that it would cost about $400 to save the puppy's broken leg. It is money neither the school nor the shelter has, but in just one day, students brought in quarters and dollars with enough money to raise over $200. If you want to help, you can send a donation to the school at the address below. And Walmart employee and good deed doer Bismarck Mensah stumbled upon an envelope with $20,000 inside a shopping cart recently. Instead of pocketing the money for himself, Mensah chased the couple's car as they pulled out of the parking lot. He returned the money without any hesitation. Mensah immigrated to the United States last year from Ghana, and when asked if he was tempted even just a little bit to take the money, Mensah responded saying his conscience would not allow it. And now we'll take a final look at your weather with Patrick Kavlin.
Well, first of all, those dog stories were pretty nice.
How adorable. And students, like we see lately, a lot of young voices are coming out to help, whether it be homelessness, shelters, things like that.
Makes me want to go out and get a dog.
Right,
I wish they allowed them in the dorms. All right, 9 o'clock, we're almost there, so let's take a look at the conditions outside right now. 45 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, so if you're heading out to that 9-10 class, grab the jacket. It's a little chilly, but make sure you have the rain gear with you. Temperature's really not changing much throughout the day. We'll top out around 45, 46 degrees. Unsettled end to the week, but Sunday is looking like a nice day. Remember, follow us on Twitter, WTOP10, on Facebook, or email us any questions, comments, or weather photos. We'll air them right here. Meteorology@WTOP10.com. So that's your forecast. Hopefully next week is looking a little better for Quest.
All right. Well, yeah, and hopefully we can do our forecast or a little bit of our coverage outdoors. So,
right. Yeah, hopefully. All right, well, that's going to do it for us here for the 10 News team.
I'm Samantha Damasio.
And I'm Chief Meteorologist Patrick Kavlin.